the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 4. Let's go, baby. Yeah. There was a time I had trouble talking about it. Congratulate them, we know they doubted. Somehow we made it up out the pit, back against the wall, never quit. Traversing through each obstacle, show a non-believer what's possible. Let nothing they could do stand in between me and my wildest dreams. Let's go. And that come at us could come in between. Life gave me the worst, yet my side grew so green. We've been down in the dirt, been tossed in the trash, but I never stray from my path. When we're gone, we ain't looking back.
Maybe we were all way too high. Maybe that's our fault.
It's going to be a crazy time, but it's going to be a fun time.
Life is boring if you don't take some chances and do some things outside the box.
Your destination for both some feel-good lifestyle advice and some fantasy football advice.
All right. Feel Good Friday is full go. It is September 9th. Football, NFL football is back. We are recapping the electric night that would just happen in SoFi Stadium over there in Los Angeles, California. Seth Woolcock, Nate Polvo back with you tonight, bringing the vibes. Nate, this is a very, very special episode of the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm happy to have you here with me, my friend.
Every Friday, buddy. In 2.5 years of doing this together, that's the first time you've screwed up my name.
I know. How about
Just
it?
like to throw that out there. What do you know? Weird things, man. But stoked to be here on Friday. Stoked to be here every Friday, guys. We're going to be here every Friday. We're going to be dropping some knowledge for you to get ready for the weekend. I'm stoked to be here.
You know, Nate, we kind of talked about it a little bit. And, you know, this podcast has been around. This is now, I believe, our 4th season of the podcast. And we've always been a weekly in-season show. One show a week. We tried to get in as much information as we could. But this season, man, me and you, we wanted to ramp it up. We said, let's get the IBT family in here 2 times a week. Let's get them all the information they need on injuries, waiver wire. We kind of do earlier in the week. So today it's going to be focused on Thursday Night Football recap. And then we're going to talk start sits. Nate, we have some really awesome guests tonight, too, that I'm really excited to get into.
We do. We've got Eric Romoff, who is from Pros with Joes. We're very excited to have him. He's at Fantasy Nav on Twitter. Then we've got Ryan Weisse. He is from Club Fantasy. He does a little bit of stuff for Footballguys as well. He is at Fantasy5 on Twitter. Stoked to have these guys today.
Yeah, and Nate, you know, I think the vibe of today's show is we really want to be relaxed. We really want to let it flow as we're kind of talking about this. We're normally a very segment-oriented show, but for the first little bit here, I just thought, you know, you and I, let's riff, man, because so much has happened in just 24 hours in the fantasy football landscape. Things have shifted all over the place. And before we jump in, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to, we were supposed to have our guest Dale DeMont of Eat Sleep Fantasy on today. He unfortunately came down with some kidney stones. So Dale, we're hoping you get better soon, man. Kidney stones are no fun, Nate.
No, I've never had them. Fortunately, I'm getting to an age where that might be more of a thing for me down the road. But we wish Dale well, man. Feel better. Sorry you couldn't be here today, but we'll have you on again soon.
Gotta lay off those Diet Cokes, Dale. You know, that's what I hear does those kidney stones, man. Them DCs, them Diet Cokes. So, Dale, we wish you nothing but the best. But, Nate, we do have a football game to recap for the first time in what feels like forever. And let's start here, man. It was a wild one right out of the gate. The Rams, they scored all their points in the second quarter of this Thursday night matchup. 7 turnovers total for both the Bills and the Rams combining there, which is kind of unlike both of them. But Buffalo, they never punted in this game. Their offense was electric. The only time they did not do so well is when they turned the ball over. So, Nate, what was your actual thoughts on the overall game and or production of the game over there on NBC?
Well, you know, I thought it was interesting. Matthew Stafford led the league in interceptions last year. So throwing interceptions wasn't a surprise. He didn't get as much work as some of these other quarterbacks got. It's a Thursday night game, first game of the season, one less preseason game, and it showed. Both of these teams looked rough at times. Obviously, the Rams looked tougher. I mean, they lost Andrew Whitworth, and I think that might be more impactful than we thought. This Rams team is going to be better than we saw. I mean, Allen Robinson had 2 targets the whole game. Cooper Kupp went off, which wasn't unexpected. the Los Angeles running back room is a mess. Cam Akers had 3 carries, but Buffalo looked like the better team, and Josh Allen looked like an MVP.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. There was a lot that we are going to break down a little more in depth. Nate, any bad beats for you last night? Because, man, I sweated out a huge parlay. It was a SGP, same game parlay, and basically hit everything on the parlay other than I needed Josh Allen to go over 305 passing yards. And then there was like 8 minutes left in the game. He had 8 yards he needed to go. The Bills get the ball back. He needs like 1 completion. And I hit this over. I hit this parlay, very long odds. And what's he do? He runs the ball for 15 yards. He never throws the ball again in the game. I lose my bet. And week 1 got off to a little bit of a sour start there.
You know, I went 50-50 on my prop picks this week. I missed on Gabe Davis. I didn't think he was going to clip 60 yards receiving. I was wrong. Granted, it was on basically 3 catches. But it is what it is. I don't think that that's going to be something we're going to see all season. I think he had a good game. And then I really thought that Stafford was going to blow over 280 yards passing. Didn't get even close.
Agreed. Yeah, it was kind of a dismal performance for Matthew Stafford. But let's start with the positives and look at the Buffalo Bills here. Stephon Diggs. He showed us why he is Stephon Diggs, why he was a second first-round pick in a lot of fantasy football drafts. Josh Allen. Other than for me, he delivered. The man delivered 31 fantasy points for him in a standard fantasy league. And then Gabe Davis. Is Gabe Davis a guy? Because, I mean, we've been talking about Gabe Davis all season long, but he was 4 for 88 and 1 touchdown. So Gabe Davis showed up in the first game of the year in a pretty big way. He looks like he might be Josh Allen's downfield threat. He went to him deep that one throw, and it was beautiful haul in by Davis.
Sure. The problem with Gabe Davis is if he's not really open, he's not going to catch the ball. His contested catch rate's awful. And that concerns me. That concerns me that if you don't get a big play from Davis, he's not going to be fantasy relevant. He's got to score a touchdown.
Well, and I think the one thing that I am opportunistic about Gabe here is when you look at what Buffalo's doing now without Brian Dable, they're really focusing on yards after the catch, getting these wide receivers in space on the run. That's something Josh Allen's always never really done for as good of a quarterback as he's been. So I'm expecting Gabe Davis, like for me going forward, Nate, I got to probably rank him somewhere around wide receiver 24 to wide receiver 30 just about every week. He's a low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver for me moving forward. Do you counter that at all?
No, I think that's accurate. I think that he was just I still think people are overvaluing him. I think people are higher on him than that. I think people are thinking he's going to be somewhere as like a high-end wide receiver 2. And I just don't think that that's anywhere near even his ceiling in this offense. But he, like you said, he's a nice flex player, a back-end wide receiver too.
Isaiah McKenzie, he was a little disappointed in this one, 2 for 19 and a touchdown. However, he did have a big drop that led to an interception. Then we saw Jamison Crowder get involved. So kind of a down day for McKenzie. We'll see if he can bounce back. But as long as Jamison Crowder's still getting some snaps, I don't know how I feel about McKenzie starting moving forward. He's probably more of a low-end bench player.
Yeah, and I agree with that. McKenzie was in Denver for a while. He's talented, but he has an issue with fumbles, and he has an issue with dropping the ball. And that's why he didn't stay around in Denver. The less volume for McKenzie is probably going to be better for this offense, less mistakes. And like you said, Jamison Crowder is talented, and he's going to get looks, and that's going to impact McKenzie. It's not going to impact Davis, and it's not going to impact Diggs.
Yep. Last thing on Buffalo here, Nate, the backfield. I mean, Devin Singletary looked like a dog. When he was out there, Devin Singletary rushed very good, 8 for 48 for him. However, his ceiling was capped by Zach Moss having 6 receptions here. Moss was targeted pretty heavily by Josh Allen early on here, Nate. So for me, Zach Moss still looked awful. He might have had 6 receptions, but it was for 21 yards. He rushed 6 times for 15 yards. So still an inefficient back. I don't think he deserves to be on this field. But James Cook, 1 carry, 2 yards, and a fumble. Awful timing for the rookie. It might be a while before we see James Cook back out there ripping.
I just can't get excited about this running back core, but I just can't because I don't think we're going to, what Devin Singletary did last night, this is what we're going to see out of these running backs. I think James Cook does get more involved as the season goes on, but I don't think that he's really relevant in redraft format. He's a guy you're stashing in Dynasty. You've probably got him on your taxi squad. But I can't be excited about any of these guys. I mean, Moss, maybe if he has some PPR upside, might be a nice spot play, but outside of that, I can't get on board with any of them. I know you love Devin Singletary, but
he looked good, man. Average 6 yards per carry. It's just, are they going to give him the ball? They look like they're going with more of platoon. We'll see what happens later in the year. But to me, Devin Singletary's, he's still a top 36 play for me, RB3 every single week. Before we move forward, I do want to shout out some of the IBT family in here. What's up, Toronto Dave? Great to see you today. We appreciate you tuning in. We got our boy Griff, one of the IBT members over here, and Dave Fantasy. What's up, Dave? And I even think we have Scott Rynear, all the way out in Seattle. So a little bit early for Scott, but we appreciate all you guys tuning in. The first Friday episode of the IBT podcast. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It'll let you know when we go live, what we're doing here at IBT. Nate, we've been sending content very hard this week. We picked up the pace even more from last week when we were already 7 days a week.
Yeah, but it's a good thing. We love what we do, and we love doing it. We love bringing it to you guys. I'm just stoked that we've got so much more going on. It's fun in season to be doing all of this and to get it out to the people who need it. Help you guys win your leagues.
Gets I am sipping on my first beer of the day. I will say that, but I almost feel like I have a buzz right now, and it's just because I just love what's happening in the world right now. The weather is cooling down. Football is back. I'm excited to see so many of the IBT family showing up today as well. We appreciate them. But Nate, let's move forward to the not so fun part of last night, and that was the Rams, man. And to be blunt, man, the Rams screwed everyone not named Cooper Kupp in fantasy last night. Matthew Stafford, I think, is the biggest headline here, though, man. No Whitworth, as you alluded to earlier. He looked like he struggled, sacked, I think, 7 or 8 times in this one, and just looked inaccurate. The most inaccurate I've probably seen him in a very long time. Nate, are you concerned about Matthew Stafford moving forward? The elbow was obviously an issue coming into the season.
No, I'm not. Look, like I said earlier, it was week 1.
Yep.
And this is an offense. It's a new offense, new offensive coordinator. They're still trying to figure out their identity here. I'm not. If we're still here in 3 weeks and Stafford is still struggling, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, man. I don't have any Matthew Stafford, but if I did, I think I would I'm trying to secure at least someone else off the waiver wire, off free agency, who can maybe provide a little upside. If you're in a shallower league, after this week, you could consider Kirk Cousins. He's gonna have a couple better matchups coming. And even in some a little bit of deeper leagues, I think Trevor Lawrence is worth a stash too. But Nate, sticking with this passing game for 1 minute, Allen Robinson comes out 2 targets on the night, and this was in a night where Tyler Higbee 11 targets. Ben Scrooge, how do you even pronounce his last name? I can't.
Suaronic.
Okay, I don't even think my mouth can make those words. So we're just gonna call him Benny S. Benny S, 6 targets. Tyler Higbee, 5 for 39 with 11 targets. That's almost what you expect with Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, they're going to figure out the Allen Robinson thing. There's no way that they don't get him really involved. Guess it's going to be the Cooper Kupp show, but there's always got to be that 1A, and that's going to be Allen Robinson. It'll happen.
So you're holding Allen Robinson. You're not panicking. Yes. You're not overreacting.
No, it's week 1. This is not the time. The people who overreact now and make silly knee-jerk reaction moves are the people who lose leagues.
Okay, but
we don't know.
Nate, I will start by saying this. I have no Allen Robinson this year. I had him last year. He burned me. I was out. But I will say I didn't react fast enough last year when I had Allen Robinson, and it screwed me down the line. Now, at least you could get some value for Allen Robinson if you want to move off him. I don't know, man. He looked invisible out there. It literally reminded me exactly of the Bears, and I don't know, man. You can't bring in a top wide receiver like this and have that happen and still think he's a number 2 option for your fantasy team. I'm out on Allen Robinson. I am selling him for whatever I can get at this point. Perfect. Call that an overreaction, whatever you want to call it.
League we're in together because I'll take him.
I don't have him. I don't have many leagues. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know, man. This has been 18 straight games of Allen Robinson being a nobody, and I just don't think I can take this anymore.
Look, I hear what you're saying. I get the panic, but this is one game. on a much better team for Allen Robinson. You can't compare the Bears years to this, or even the Jacksonville years. This is a markedly better team. This is the best quarterback he's ever had, and it's not even close. They're going to figure it out. I'm not worried.
Nate, always trying to keep me in check. That's why I appreciate you, my friend.
Older and wiser.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Older, wiser, a little more patience. I need that patience. I'm still in my youth, so I'm a little bit young and gunning out there for it. But Nate, last thing on last night's game here for the Rams, Cam Akers, 3 carries for 0 yards. Darrell Henderson is the one who got the start here. I think this is going to be a frustrating backfield moving forward. I don't think we're really going to know who the guy is. The healthier Cam Akers gets, I think just the more stress is going to come as a fantasy manager, whether you roster him or Darrell Henderson. Henderson, 12 PPR points. He looked good. 5 for 25 in the receiving game. You do like that as a fantasy manager.
Yeah. I told you all not to be so excited about Cam Akers. I said it all offseason. This guy's coming off an Achilles tendon tear. If he ever gets back to old form, it's not going to be this season. It probably won't even be next season. Deontay Foreman tore his Achilles tendon in 2017. He just got back on the field and effective in 2021. This is, like you said, this is a frustrating backfield. Henderson has some upside, but outside of Henderson, I mean, who do you? It's not Cam Akers.
If you drafted Darrell Henderson, congratulations. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you got him at a good discount.
Yeah, I got him in the double-digit rounds of a lot of drafts. So if you did, congratulations. If you have Cam Akers, you kind of have to hold him at this point. You can't sell a running back that I think you paid that much draft capital for. But when he has a big game, I suggest selling Cam Akers, Nate.
Yep, I agree.
All right, and let's go ahead, Nate. We're going to move forward. We have a very special guest coming on for our matchup management segment. But I want to remind people, again, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, we appreciate you. Please subscribe to our channel here at In Between Media. It helps us continue to grow, helps us to continue to bring you great content on a daily basis during the fantasy football season. So, Nate, with that said, man, let's jump into matchup management.
Who you got?
Matchup management.
Who's it gonna be?
All right, and for our guest today of matchup management, this is a man that, Nate, you and I have become very good friends with in this industry, not just because he's a whiz at the fantasy football analysis, because this guy has a heart of gold. He has his own charity league that he does each and every year, raises thousands and thousands of dollars for a bunch of different charities. It's not just one. So, Nate, with that being said, man, I would like to bring on our good friend of the show, Eric Romoff.
What's up, Eric? What's up, buddy?
What's going on, boys?
Good
How's
to
it
see
going?
you today, man.
Happy week 1. We're here.
Yes, we made it.
Eric, how did you enjoy the game last night, my friend?
I enjoyed the game so much. Looking at it objectively, it really wasn't the best game in the world. It was actually pretty sloppy. But the fact that it's back, the fact that the players that most of us expected to do very well immediately stepped up and met those expectations just has me thirsting for the full slate coming on Sunday.
I'm ready, baby. I am absolutely ready. We have a loaded college football slate tomorrow, too, so it does not stop here. Almost for like the next 18 weeks, guys, like clear your freaking schedules. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said on Sunday he was going to a Renaissance fair with his wife, and I said, you are a better man than me, my friend, because I could not do that. And this is a guy who loves fantasy football as much as we do.
Man, I don't get it. Basically at 7:20 local time, I said my farewells to my family, told them that I loved them very much and I'd see them in February. I certainly couldn't fit in a Renaissance fair, although those are pretty dope. Like they're a good ass time going to those fairs. But not
you get tuned up there? You guys get tuned up at Rennie fairs?
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Oh, yeah, you do.
I guess I haven't been to one since I was of age, honestly. So I just look forward to the turkey leg, man.
Yeah. I mean, turkey leg slams, and you're crushing mead and doing like fake, like medieval accents. It's a hoot. But
that does it.
That's springtime affair. It's football season.
Absolutely. It is football season, guys. So on matchup management today, Eric has joined us. We're going to break down some of these start-sit questions that a lot of people are asking us. If you're new in the chat and you want to ask us some questions as we go along, we will absolutely get to those as well. But guys, let's go ahead and start with the QB section here. And I wrote about a couple different QBs in my start-sit and Seth column. And, the one thing I'll say about this is I was not in on the quarterback I said to start coming into the season, but the matchup is great. And I loved the quarterback I said to sit, but the matchup was bad. So starting here with Trey Lance, guys, I am firing him up in all my lineups that I have him. He's facing a Chicago team that lost 4 defensive players, and not just anyone. We're talking Akeem Hicks. We're talking Khalil Mack and just some game changers over there. Nate, you've heard all offseason, I'm out on the Bears. I think they're absolutely going to be an awful team. And I think Trey Lance, if Deebo Samuel is at least healthy, he's going to be a top 12 play this week. He's got that rushing upside. Are you in on Lance too, my friend?
Yeah, this week. I think this is a good week. He's playing a putrid Bears team. This is best case scenario for his first start in his first full season as a starter. He gets to ease in against basically a high school defense. That's probably really good for him. I think they'll keep the ball on the ground. This game is going to be boring because it's going to be a rushing affair between these two teams. But I think Lance will make it exciting. I think his rushing upside, I'm in on him this week. Not all season, this week.
Eric, are you willing to rip the Band-Aid off of Trey Lance in really what's his debut start as, the Niners guy moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. In my start-sit column over at drroto.com, he was one of my starts. The game itself might not be the most exciting matchup, but I do think that Trey Lance will be electric in this game. And you look at his matchup against Chicago, this is a team that allowed the 6th most points, fantasy points, to opposing quarterbacks last season and tied with the 2nd most rushing touchdowns allowed to opposing quarterbacks. And that was before they lost several all-pro players on their defense. So this is very much so a primed matchup. I do agree with Nate that it's going to be much more of a rushing affair, but fortunately that is an area of strength for Trey Lance. So he's number 7 on my ranks this week.
Okay. Eric is buying into the upside of the young quarterback there out in San Francisco. Now let's move forward to one of the quarterbacks I said to sit this week in my start, sit, and Seth column, and that's Kirk Cousins. And guys, I love Kirk Cousins this year. I think he's going to be a borderline top 12 QB, a QB1 once again here in 2022. However, he starts with the Packers this week. And, I do a lot of Packers work. I follow the Packers pretty closely because of some of my clients. And it's no surprise. They have Eric Stokes, they have Rasul Douglas, and they have Jair Alexander, possibly the best cornerback trio in the entire NFL. With that said, I don't think I can start Kirk Cousins here in week 1. I mean, those guys are absolutely game changers in the Packers secondary. Eric, are you afraid to put up Kirk Dizzler as well this week?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I'm never going to feel great about firing up Kirk Cousins, right? He's just
it's
Kirk
not
Cousins.
Sexy.
Yeah, he's better than a lot of alternatives, but he's worse than a lot of players too. And I think the thing for me that makes it more of a practical consideration, and unless things really went sideways in your draft, you didn't draft Kirk Cousins as your QB1, right? So you very likely have several, if not multiple, better options on your team and potentially on your waiver wire. So for that reason, this cornerback trio is absolutely gut wrenching for opposing QBs, and because you likely have better alternatives, I'll pass on old Kirky.
Nate, I know I don't have to ask you twice to bench Kirk Cousins, my friend.
Look, I feel I have apologized for hating on Kirk Cousins because I actually like him this year, but this is just a matchup that's a nightmare for fantasy. I can't get on board with Kirk Cousins this week.
All right, guys. Well, it looks like I did my research in the quarterback department. A couple other starts I like that I'll throw out there that we've talked about this week already. Trevor Lawrence. I really like the matchup for Trevor Lawrence here. I think he has a good group of wide receivers. He's a little more mobile than people think. I don't think he's a top 12 guy this week, but if I need to, I would probably consider Trevor Lawrence over Kirk Dizzler possibly.
Maybe.
Nate's a little squeamish.
Little.
I like that call over Kirk specifically.
Okay.
And I like that game in particular. I'm gonna have way too much exposure to the Washington Commanders and the Jacksonville Jaguars in my DFS builds this week.
I'm a big fan of Matt Ryan against Houston this week. I think that's a beautiful matchup for Ryan.
That is a good matchup, Nate. They got a very young secondary there. Derek Stingley Jr., of course, coming over in the draft. But, still got some learning to do for him. So I agree. I like that. Eric, any other quarterback plays that you were absolutely on this week or absolutely off this week that we should know about?
Really the one that I just mentioned. I am not opposed to streaming Carson Wentz this week. Very favorable matchup. He throws the ball down the field fairly accurately. That is something that Terry McLaurin does very well. He gets open deep. So like him as a bit of an upside play.
Man, okay. I don't
it's
think
gross, but I don't hate it.
It is very gross, but I understand the rationale there, Eric. I think I've always been a Carson Wentz hater, so I think I'd have to jump off a bridge before I'd start him in week 1 here. But I understand. I understand the appeal of that game. Eric's finding some value in it. Guys, let's go ahead and move forward to some running backs. And we're just going to get this out of the way because if you've listened to this podcast at all this offseason, probably even when Eric's been on, I've been hyping up A.J. Dillon all offseason. And I don't get looking at some and Nate, you and I, we're both very thankful to be at Fantasy Pros. We love those guys as colleagues, but I don't know what the rankers there are doing. I don't know what the rankers are doing at ESPN and on Sleeper because A.J. Dillon's outside of the top 30 of most running back boards. And I think in a Vikings matchup where the Packers don't have a lot of options, Allen Lazard might not be ready to go. This entire receiving core is an absolute question mark. I think A.J. Dillon's going to see the ball 15 plus times. I think he's a very capable flex, low-end RB2 this week that should be in lineups.
What I think's interesting is that right now, for the Fantasy Pros ECR rankings for week 1, he's sitting at running back 22, and I still think that's too low. They've got him behind Rashad Penny, Etienne, Josh Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell, Antonio Gibson. These are guys that he is going to outperform this week.
Yeah, I generally agree with that list. Maybe not with regard to Penny specifically, because it seems like they're gonna be without Ken Walker. But generally speaking, I do like him above really just about everybody else on that list. And for this game in particular, it's got a decent little total. It's floating around 47 and a half points, and it's supposed to be close. Specifically, and this is some galaxy brain stuff. With all of the injuries to the wide receiver core, I think that we're going to see a lot of Aaron Jones as a pass catcher. So when they are running in this close game, it should be more A.J. Dillon. I don't think this will be representative of how they deploy their pieces, their staff in a typical scenario. But while they're so stunted on the wide receiver side, I really think the actual carries between the tackles are going to be all A.J. Dillon's this week.
All right.
I agree.
These guys are with me. They think A.J. Dillon's going to feed and should be in your lineups here in week 1. Guys, let's move forward to the Jets running backs. And this is a very interesting situation here. Michael Carter is listed as the starter as the team travels to face, they're home against Baltimore this week. But are you guys playing Michael Carter? Are you playing Breece Hall? Because Baltimore was a team last year. They limited running backs to about 1,200 yards for the entire season. That was bottom 5 in the league. So they're a pretty good defense against RBs. At least they were last season. They're bringing a lot of the same guys back here. I can't stomach to start Michael Carter here. I have Breece Hall in enough leagues that I think I have to throw him out just because he's a game changer. Nate, Eric, what do you guys say we do here with the Jets running backs? I've been on them all off season, so I think I'm a little biased here coming on the frisky Jets, Nate, but I think I want to start Breece and not Carter.
I'm with you because it's Flacco this week. Flacco doesn't need Michael Carter to be that safety blanket wide receiver. Flacco can spread the ball out effectively. He did it in camp. Oddly, I think this is a better team with Joe Flacco at quarterback, and I think that benefits Breece Hall. I think they'll lean on Hall to run the ball a little bit more than they might with Wilson, and that's good. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunity. I'm okay with starting Breece Hall. Michael Carter, probably not this week.
Yeah, in terms of the side-by-side, I mean, I would much rather start Breece Hall, but for week 1, I would prefer not to start either. This is an absolute gut punch of a matchup. It's something that's going to be very tough for them to get anything going on the ground. Yes, Flacco should be a bit more effective at moving the chains and keeping the offense rolling forward than Zach Wilson, or at least an injured Zach Wilson. But ultimately, there's just a lot of question marks swirling around how they're going to deploy these two, how effective they'll be as an offense. And so it really feels like an avoid for me. The tricky thing, and this is kind of what you were alluding to, Seth, you sort of drafted Breece Hall to where he's probably got to be in your starting lineup. So if you're in that position, it's certainly Hall of the two, but I would not feel good about being in that circumstance.
Yeah, that's the way week one's going, guys. Injuries, they've already kind of raveled some lineups where we have to start guys like Breece Hall this week. We do have some questions in the chat that I want to get to, though. One referring to Breece Hall. Here we have Trey. Trey, thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you, man. Full PPR flex, Breece Hall, Michael Thomas, Damian Harris, or Jerry Jeudy. This one's a slam dunk for me. Eric, I don't think you have any bias towards the Broncos or Jerry Jeudy, though. So I want to kick this one off with you. Who are you starting out of this bench for him for Trey here? Full PPR flex.
It sounded like you were coming to me for an opposing point of view, and you will not get it. Jerry Jeudy is the correct answer.
Yes, sir.
The next man up for me would actually be Michael Thomas, but there's still some question marks about just how healthy he will be and how he'll be utilized in this new look offense. So I'll go with the sure thing and the upside that Jeudy offers up.
Okay. I agree.
Yeah, I love it. Monday Night Football. I want to see Jerry Jeudy do what he does best. We also have a question here from Ho. Half PPR, start Gibson or Waddle at flex. I'm going to say it depends what you want here, but Waddle obviously is probably the safer play. Antonio Gibson, we've kind of been going on all offseason about, Nate loves J.D. McKissick. He's got a poster probably behind him right now. Probably got J.D. McKissick underwear underneath. That's how much Nate loves that guy.
Jeez.
But I just think in a matchup here where I do expect Washington to be having to put up points, that they're going to be rolling McKissick out there in some more passing situations. Waddle's a little banged up, but he is expected to go here. And I just think the Dolphins are going to come out firing here in week one. Eric, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is really one of those like floor play decisions, right? I don't think either of these guys are going to kind of break the week for you. For me, it's Jalen Waddle. There are just so many signals and overtures that the Commanders are done with Gibson. Obviously, their circumstance sort of changed to where they have to consider him to some extent. But if you think about the amount of targets that he was peppered with last year, if you see all of those camp videos coming out of Miami where Tua is underthrowing Tyreek Hill, oftentimes Jalen Waddle is running uncovered over the middle. And so I do think he'll get a decent amount of catches and should offer a pretty solid floor in week one.
Nate,
you know what I'm going to say. It's never Antonio Gibson.
Yeah,
it never was.
That needs to be the shirt for Nate. We got to get on soon. We got another question here from our guy Deshaun Bogan. What's up, Deshaun? Appreciate you tuning in today. Full PPR flex: Michael Thomas, Rashad Penny, or David Montgomery. Oh man, this is a tough one. This is a pretty tough one. Okay, Nate, go ahead and take it, man, because I got to think about this one.
It's Rashad Penny because we don't know enough about how healthy Michael Thomas is or how he's going to be used, as Eric alluded to. And David Montgomery, he's like RB2 in that offense behind Justin Fields with Khalil Herbert like nipping at his heels. Rashad Penny's a guy that's going to probably get the most volume, even though we're hearing that Travis Homer might be a little bit more involved in that run game on Monday night. But I think it's Rashad Penny here.
Eric, you've been kind of hot on Penny all week, so are you following Nate's lead here?
Yeah, sweep it for me. Just a far clearer picture on how they will use him, assuming that Ken Walker is going to be out, which all indications are he should be. And in this offense in particular, the Broncos D was very good at aggressively pursuing opposing running backs, and the easiest way to counterpunch to that is to throw to those running backs out of the backfield. So I do think we see him stack up a couple of catches as well.
I personally would probably have to go David Montgomery, but I completely agree with you guys, and I think it's very close. These are all solid options. Michael Thomas, I just don't think it's worth the risk here in week one if you have two options like Montgomery and Rashad Penny here. I just think maybe the Seahawks trail a little more than people are thinking, and maybe it's Rashad Penny who isn't catching the passes, and it's more of Travis Homer. Dave Montgomery, though, I think is the pass catching back for the Bears, and that he could see some volume here in that aspect if they are trailing the 49ers, which I expect them to be. So I would go Montgomery here, but I completely understand. Eric and Nate, though, are telling Deshaun, go ahead and fire up Rashad Penny here in week one. And guys, I am seeing some new faces in the chat today, which is absolutely outstanding. We appreciate all you guys. If this is your first time at the IBT Media YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. We have content coming for you here and at our website, inbetweenmedia.com, 7 days a week. And here's a question from our guy, Albert. Albert's a very loyal listener. We appreciate you, Albert. Would you start Hall or Edmonds full PPR? And I think down the line, I would definitely roll Hall. But in this matchup, we kind of talked about it. It's a little bit scary with the Ravens. Carter is slated to be the starter. So with that said, I got to roll Edmonds here in week 1 against the Pats.
Yeah, I agree, especially because Miami's just had New England's number for the last couple of seasons, and I think that continues again here. And I think Edmonds is probably the higher ceiling of the two.
Awesome.
Let's sweep it. I'm going Edmonds overall as well.
Okay. It looks like Ho has one more question for us, guys. In a full PPR, would you start Sutton, Waddle, or Elijah Moore at wide receiver 2? I have Russ at QB and played Kupp wide receiver 1 last night. First of all, Ho, congratulations on Cooper Kupp last night. That's great to hear that. To me, it's a slam dunk on Sutton. I mean, if you can get a guy who's tied to a great quarterback, your quarterback as well, get that stack going on Monday night, you're going to feel really good with it. Waddle, we like Waddle. We talked about it, but he is a little banged up. And Elijah Moore here in week 1 against the Ravens, I'm good on that one as well. So this is an easy Cortland Sutton for me. Nate, are you taking your Broncos stand here?
Oh, yeah, it's an easy Sutton. Same reasons you said. Like, it's not even a question.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, let's keep the sweeps going. Specifically with such a cushion coming out of the Thursday night game. I love having the hammer, and not only that, but the stacked hammer for Monday night. You should be able to ride into Monday night with a lot of excitement and really with your destiny in your own hands. So I'll go with Sutton.
Let's ride, baby. Let's ride. Eric is riding with Sutton and Russell Wilson there. Another one from Deshaun. Start Dak or Joe Burrow. This is a good one. For me, though, I just think I have to probably roll Joe Burrow out there. I think the upside is a little bit bigger. Dak's probably the safer floor, but I think Joe Burrow against a Steelers secondary that is not proven. Yes, the Steelers have Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yes, they have TJ Watt over there in the Berg, but they don't have Joe Hayden out there anymore. These cornerbacks are very inexperienced. I think Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and the fellas, I think they make quick work of this one. It's easily Joe Burrow for me.
Yeah, I think it's Burrow for me. It's a little bit closer. I love Dak Prescott, but if I'm choosing between the two this week, it's going to be Burrow.
Okay.
Man, we're keeping the consensus going. It's certainly Burrow for me. The thing that I'm most excited to see heading into the season is how he performs behind this improved offensive line. Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is historically tough, but I do think that they've armed up on that interior line enough to where he should be able to have enough time to distribute the ball.
Yep.
Toronto Dave saying, IBT family, let's ride. And then we have Scott, IBT country, let's ride. I love that, man. I love riding in with you guys. We are going to jump over to our next segment here in just a minute. We have another guest coming on. That's going to be absolutely wonderful. But Eric, before we let you go, I did want to get your opinion on one situation that is trending out there, and that's George Kittle. He pulled his groin on Monday. Can you risk playing Kittle here in week 1 if he goes? There's a lot of tight ends out there on your waivers here early in the season. Not a lot of people rostering 2 tight ends. What do you do with Kittle if you have him, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like all indications are that Kittle is not going to be available. So I'm very much so making contingency plans. Fortunately, if you don't have one of the top kind of 5 tight ends out there, you generally have the rest of the pool and that can score in kind of a comparable way. So it's really a matter of identifying who you think is going to have the best touchdown opportunity. So for me, that's a guy like Cole Kmet. This is a game where they should be trailing. This is a team and a system where he was their second target last year. He had 93 targets in this offense, didn't find his way into the end zone. So maybe a little positive touchdown regression would make for a fine replacement job for an injured George Kittle.
I love everything you said.
You can't come on this show and start spreading Cole Kmet love once again, Eric.
The only reason why I'm here.
You guys have I've been attacked by Cole Kmet truthers, not only on Twitter. his mom, like I put out a post on Instagram about Cole Kmet. His mom was liking the post, and then I requested to follow her, and she won't let us follow her. So Cole Kmet's mom,
man.
you can go F yourself too, right along with Cole Kmet.
Whoa.
No offense, guys, but Cole Kmet, I like the play, but his mom doesn't
I can't
want to
believe
follow
we
him.
ever let you into the Cole Kmet club.
Yeah, I apologize. I did not mean to accidentally found that club, but it is what happened.
I hope Cooter's not watching.
We
I
got a
just love
comment
his
here
mom,
from
scrolling through Instagram looking for posts about Cole Kmet.
we got
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
You can tell she's a little conceited too, just looking up her son on Instagram. Sorry, and it was actually a sit. I actually said to not draft him, so it was some hate. So I understand if she doesn't want to follow us or allow us to follow her. That's cool, Miss Kmet. We'll be back for you. Don't worry about it. Dustin,
when you're ready.
We appreciate the love here in the comments. Loving the show today. We hope you subscribe and come back. We're here every Friday, 1:30, and then Tuesday nights we're back with you as well at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Oh man, the chat is popping here. Better watch your mouth about Kmet's mom. Zach Wilson will find you. I love that. Eric, before we let you out of here, my friend, how can we best support you and your efforts here in the fantasy football industry?
Yeah, the easiest way to do it, I'm realizing that I've got an old tag on there. My personal Twitter is @FantasyNav. One of the projects that I love spending my time on is Green Screens Media, so that is what is at Get Green Screens. But I am all over the place. You can find my work at Going for Two, at drroto.com, at Football Diehards, but all of that will merge and roll up into my personal Twitter, which is @FantasyNav.
Fantastic. Eric, well, thank you so much for joining us today, man. It has been a pleasure. We have Ryan Weisse right on the other side with some sure thing sleepers of the week. Eric, thank you so much for everything you do for this community. Have a great week one, my friend. Appreciate you, bud.
Thanks, boys. Always fun.
All right. And let's go ahead and jump into some sure things. Sleepers of the week, baby.
It's the sure thing. Sleepers of the week.
All right. And for sure things, sleepers of the week, this is our version of bringing you some sneaky plays of guys end of bench, on your waiver wire, whatever it may be. And for this, we have a very special person coming on, someone who has become a friend of mine, a colleague in this industry, someone who is really the backbone of Club Fantasy FFL. They do great work over there, and a member of the Footballguys team as well. So with no other further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Ryan Weisse. What's up, Ryan? Thanks for joining us tonight, man.
What's up, boys?
What's up,
Thanks for
man?
having me.
Absolutely, man. Is that
show's
how you
been
pronounce your
great
last
so
name?
far. You
Thank you,
killed
man.
it. It's Weisse. Sorry.
Okay. I hate
Come on, Seth.
No
It's the
offense.
second name you've gotten wrong today.
I know. I'm really bad with the EIs or the IEs. Like Adam Thielen, I can't even spell for whatever reason.
I say, let's be clear. If you look at my name, it shouldn't sound the way it sounds. So I feel like we just make things up at this point. And I mean, all words are made up, so it all works out in the long run. So.
Absolutely. Ryan, how did you enjoy last night's game? And are you ready for this weekend, my friend?
Well, as a prominent Cam Akers doubter, I enjoyed much of last night's game.
Yes,
Unfortunately, none of my bets hit, so it was a little bit of a rough Thursday night, and Allen Robinson let me down. So I don't know. All in all, it's obviously great to have football back. My goodness, is Josh Allen going to be a problem this season? But of course, I enjoyed the game. It was football again.
Ryan, how about this? I was 8 yards short of hitting a massive parlay, 8 yards short on passing from Josh Allen of hitting a massive parlay, would have cashed out. I think it was like plus 1,200 odds. And he had the ball. I told Nate about this earlier. He had the ball on that second to last drive for them, and he ran it. And he had someone wide open. So
wow,
I feel your pain, my friend.
I was an Allen Robinson away. I don't even know what the plus 12 was or what the plus was on it, but I had McKenzie scoring, Diggs scoring, Kupp scoring, Robinson scoring, and both quarterbacks over 200 yards. It was a decent payout, and Robinson not scoring was the only thing that blew it. So thanks, A-Rob. It's not like I drafted you everywhere this season.
Right.
Before we get into the sleepers, I have to throw my 2 cents in here to let you know, Seth, you are not alone. I am a full-fledged member, if not president, of the Cole Kmet Hate Club.
Thank you, my friend.
Literally had to change my screen name before I got on with you guys because my good friend Kira Wojtrowski had dubbed me the Grinch that stole Kometmas, and that was actually my screen name for the last show I did.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
man.
mean, the Komet hate's been real over here, and I know Josh, your co-founder, he was actually one of the guys who stuck up for me on Twitter. I'm getting buried by Cole Komet haters, and Josh is the one guy who comes in. Hey, if he scored 5 touchdowns last year, he's still tight end 14. So
our show has been pushing that train down the tracks for as long as we can. So.
Ryan, what's up with you guys at Club FFL, man? I'm sure it's a busy time for you guys. Are you getting back into the roll of things as we get started here?
Yeah, to be honest, it came pretty naturally. I think everybody was eager to get back to work. So we typically try to do an article a day. I do the editing, and it's worked out really well that we've had the articles ready to rock in the morning. We typically drop them at 11. Weekly rankings this year, everything's going very, very smoothly. So I probably shouldn't say those words out loud.
Well, man, we appreciate the hard work you guys do over there, Women's of Fantasy Football, and everything you guys are doing over on the YouTube channel. If you guys aren't following Ryan, make sure you do at the Fantasy 5. And to make sure if you're on YouTube as well, go over to Club Fantasy FFL. Keep this tab open as well, but open up a new tab. Go to Club Fantasy FFL. Subscribe to them. They got great content coming out multiple times a week as well. Ryan, are you juiced up for the weekend, dude? Because I cannot wait. College football has been enough for me, and now we get pro football.
And I'm not a college football guy at all. Could not care less. People describe things that happen in the games to me, and I'm just my eyes are rolling back in my head. Give me all the pro football all the time. So yes, Sunday at 1:00 Eastern cannot get here fast enough for me.
Ryan, I'm with you. I used to love it, but the NFL is king.
So I have to ask, did you play the college football video game? And did your love go away when the game went away? Because that is how I'm feeling. It was about 2014 where I just stopped caring about college football.
Oh, the last time I played a college football video game was 2004.
Okay.
So, I was about to say, yeah.
It's been a long time.
Okay, see, because I had a theory on that because the new game is coming out next year. And I'm maybe I'll actually care again. So maybe not.
Maybe.
I cannot wait for that game, to be honest. Madden just hasn't really updated enough for me. And I don't think I appreciated those games as much as I should have when they are around. We would play that game a lot, but we played way more Madden than NCAA, and there's definitely a mistake looking back.
Yeah, 100%.
We even have Dave in the chat saying he's playing NCAA 14 right now.
I still have mine is literally in my PlayStation right now. So
There we go. Ryan, well, let's go ahead and jump into some Sure Things sleepers of the week with you this week, my friend. Who is your sleeper of the week? And, it's been a crazy ride already. People might be in some holes coming out of the Thursday night football game. So what are you doing here with your Sure Thing sleeper of the week heading into the weekend?
I actually would approach what you said first is people might be in some holes coming out, especially the folks that are facing Cooper Kupp. And I'm seeing some people make some very rash decisions and getting super nervous. It's week 1. Let's not panic after a great Thursday night game. You shouldn't have expected Cooper Kupp to dud. So your matchup was your matchup. But what you're looking for is touchdown upside. And I do believe Nico Collins gives you that touchdown upside. So he is my deep sleeper. He's a guy that I added to the very end of my bench in just about every draft, a ton of my underdog best ball leagues. And when you look at Nico Collins last year, he was a dud for most of the season. However, in week 6 against Indianapolis, before he kind of popped, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but in week 6, he went for 4 catches for 44 yards. Not a great game, but not a bad game. But for someone who is looking to develop, that's actually a nice little starting point. He got very quiet after that, and in week 13 had no catches on 1 target against Indianapolis.
Yeah.
The differences in those 2 games are they threw the ball 43 times in the first game. They only threw it 27 in the second game because they were trying to work Tyrod Taylor back into the offense. And clearly that wasn't a fitting move where this is now Davis Mills time. I think they're going to have to throw the ball a ton. They're 7.5-point underdogs. And right now you're going to see Stephon Gilmore, I imagine, following Brandon Cooks everywhere. So Nico Collins gets the second corner in a game where they're not going to be able to run and have to throw a lot. I think this could end up being a very nice game for him. 6 catches, 80 yards, a touchdown, pretty easy. Not bad for a flex play.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. I like Nico Collins. Seth knows how much I like Nico Collins. But I think that the situation with Davis Mills is specifically this week, like you alluded to, they're going to be throwing the ball a ton.
Yep.
They're 7-point underdogs. Nico Collins is a guy who's probably going to grab a touchdown this week, if not 2.
Yeah. If you look at the expected totals, they're expected to score 19 points, which lends itself to 2 touchdowns. So it's just a question of, is Brandon Cooks going to be able to get by Stephon Gilmore? Otherwise, it could be 2 to Nico Collins.
Look out for Brevin Jordan in this one too. Obviously not in Limes, but someone who might be sneaky if you want to throw him at the end of one of your full PPR deeper tight end premium benches. But Ryan, I like that call, man. I haven't really been on the Nico train, but I'm off the Dameon Pierce train this week. So lends it to that narrative. I think they're going to have to pass when you have Leonard and all the beasts they have up front there for the Colts. I think that's the only way you get around them is picking on the latter corners in their secondary.
Yeah, it's a rough week 1 for these high hype rookie running backs. You guys were just talking about Breece Hall not that long ago with Eric. So you have Breece Hall going up against a pretty stout Baltimore defense, not even technically his own team starter, and Dameon Pierce still needing to prove himself, but he's going up against a very good defense, my number 1 defense in fantasy for the season and for the week. And it's a game where his team's not going to be able to run the ball very much.
Yep. All right. Nate, why don't you go ahead with your sure thing sleeper of the week now? Man, I mean, I honestly feel like I'm ripping out some of these guys in week 1, which feels very sad to say, but I got a lot of Chris Godwin. I got Kittle a lot of places. Like, I need upside. So these sleepers are going to be very valuable, not even just to our audience, but to me as well. So Nate, why don't you take it away, my friend?
So this is a player, Randall Cobb, which you get the name out of the way here. Look, we all know that Aaron Rodgers loves familiarity, right? It took Devontae Adams 2 seasons to pop. Allen Lazard is probably in line to be the wide receiver 1 over most of the season if he's healthy. However, Randall Cobb, he kind of started – Devontae Adams was out week 8 last season. Cobb got his first opportunity to actually kind of get involved in the offense. Played so well that when Devontae Adams came back, he was still a big part of that offense until he got hurt. Now, why wouldn't that carry over into this season? And nobody's talking about him. Right now, he's wide receiver 81 on the Fantasy Pros ECR rankings. He's probably on the waiver wire still. I bet he hasn't been picked up.
I think he's available in about 90% of ESPN leagues right now is what we looked at last night.
Yeah, I think he was 95%. So I think he's rostered in 5%. This is a great ad that will likely pay off this week, but this can pay off down the road too. If he plays well, why wouldn't Cobb be heavily involved in this passing game?
And, Allen Lazard being out, we don't know if he's out, but he hasn't practiced all week. So I'm expecting him at least to be limited here on Sunday. So I definitely agree with you there, Nate. Romeo Doubs, he's kind of interesting. Christian Watson are interesting, but maybe not in their first get up, as rookies. Can you really trust them with Aaron Rodgers? Ryan, you don't seem like you trust either one of those guys.
Yeah, I was down on rookies with Rodgers. I bought into that narrative. But then if you go back and look at Cobb, I was very high on the Cobb was going to lead this team train before I actually dug into Allen Lazard a little bit. And I am back with Allen Lazard at this point. But Cobb over like his last 6 games played last year was averaging almost 4 targets a game. And that was with Devontae Adams and wide receiver competition. You're going up against a Vikings defense, which does one thing very well, and that is rush the passer. And it got better with that this year. They're switching to the 3-4. Danielle Hunter's going to a rush linebacker spot, and they brought in the kid from Green Bay, whose name I can't think of right now. But anyway, they focused on the pass rush. Their corners are still bad. And so Aaron Rodgers needs to get rid of that ball quickly, and that is going to benefit Aaron Jones in the passing game, and it is certainly going to benefit Randall Cobb, who knows Aaron Rodgers, knows this offense better than any other wide receiver, and flourishes on the short and intermediate routes. So,
I like this, man. Nate, you came to play in week 1 this year, man. Last year, like week 2 or 3, Nate was traveling. Nate was like doing all this stuff, and you're buckling down, my friend. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm not going to Mexico anytime soon. Things change when you have a kid who's in actual school.
That's true.
We can't just leave anymore because he's in kindergarten. So
that is true, my friend. Well, guys, I will round us out here with my sure thing sleeper of the week. If there are any more questions in the chat as well for week 1, please feel free to drop those. We'll try to address those as we close out the show. But my sure thing sleeper of the week, this has to do with what games I want to be involved with. And I want to be involved with the highest over-under on the Vegas slate. And that is none other than the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Cardinals. So my sure thing sleeper of the week, 34-year-old AJ mother effing Green boys. I'm dialing it back. I'm throwing it back to 2018 when Green was a stud. But in all honesty, guys, this, like I said, it's a game I want to be a part of. We don't know the health of Rondale Moore. He just got another hamstring injury yesterday, went under an MRI. So I'm not expecting Rondale to probably play in this one. Zach Ertz did not practice yesterday too, dealing with a calf strain. So right now, AJ Green looks like he's going to be the number 2 option for the Cardinals. Obviously, D-Hop in this one as well. And they have a very, very thin wide receiver room. They got the Andy Isabella and a couple other burners, but no one solid. And last season, when Green saw 6+ targets, he hit double-digit fantasy points in 9 of 11 contests. So that's what I'm looking for out of AJ Green. I think he has touchdown equity here. I'm probably going to be also placing like an anytime touchdown scorer on him too, just because I am that confident in him this week. But AJ Green, boys, there you have it. I'm going with the savvy vet here in week 1.
I mean, it makes sense to me. They're going to have to use him. They don't really have much of a choice if they're going to throw the ball at all. And he's probably a good target for Murray. I mean, long term, no, AJ Green isn't a solution to anything, but this week he's probably a really solid play.
He's the only one on that offense who really does what he does. Marquise Brown is a completely different player. If Rondale Moore plays, he's not that type of player. He's more of a short and intermediate route guy, and we still don't even know what Andy Isabella is except for a bust. But AJ Green is your contested catch guy. And more importantly, the system you have to imagine they're installing is a system that is going to benefit DeAndre Hopkins when he comes back. Well, in that system, AJ Green is the only one who can fill in for DeAndre Hopkins. So there's no reason not to expect for these 6 weeks with no DeAndre Hopkins. And then as you brought up, everybody else hurt. AJ Green might lead the team in targets, depending on how much attention is going to go to Marquise Brown. And an anytime touchdown bet feels fantastic because, like you have already hit on, it's the highest over under. If this isn't one of the higher scoring games of the season, even this is going to be a huge disappointment. But you have Kyler and Mahomes, both who have something to prove now. This is going to be a nuts game. And AJ Green is your cheapest entry point into this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's rostered right now in just about 10% of ESPN leagues. I expect if Rondale, Zach Ertz are out, that number will go up over the weekend. But now's the time. Go grab AJ Green. Throw him at the end of your bench, because if you have someone like Chris Godwin, Alan Lazard, someone you're trying to pivot away from, take AJ Green. I think he's going to be a really nice play this week. Connor and I will talk more about it on Sunday morning, but he's probably going to be in some DFS lineups for us as well. I can't believe this is week 1 of already, 2022. We're talking Randall Cobb, Nico Collins, and AJ Green as guys who there'll be at least a couple of these fellows will be in my lineups this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be much choice, to be perfectly honest. I'll tell you right now, I wish I started Nico Collins over Allen Robinson, but hindsight's 2020. So.
Right.
Hindsight is 2020, my friend. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you joining us today. Can you tell us where we can find your work and how we can best support you and your crew over there at Club Fantasy FFL?
I was going to say my at's in the description at the Fantasy 5. I actually just posted this on Twitter the other day. I'm a big retweeter of other people's work. I do a lot of background editing. I do a couple of my own articles. I do like contribution articles over at Footballguys. But more importantly, I like supporting all of the other really great people in this industry. I have a lot of time to take in people's content, and I retweet really good content. But it'd be way more important to me that you follow Club Fantasy at Club Fantasy FFL, and way more important to probably everyone in the world, follow Women of Fantasy Football, Women of _FF. So many great things that Faith and Kelly Singh are doing over there. If you guys didn't see it, we just had Dave's daughters, the Sneaky Girls, on last night for their first ever start-sit show. It was absolutely fantastic. It's only going to get better. Just the type of things that we're trying to partner with, Laura Oakman's Galvanize, and just promote women in this industry and show everybody that you don't need to be a jerk. So.
Dude, I mean, that is great work over there. We are very proud of Club Fantasy FFL to be friends of your guys' company.
Yes.
Kelly Singh, she's one of our members here at IBT Media, so we appreciate her work. And the Sneaky Girls, man. Dave Fantasy's over here tearing it up every week with his column. So we appreciate you guys getting those girls on, promoting the Women of Fantasy Football with Galvanize, everything you guys are doing over there. Step 1, follow Ryan on Twitter. Step 2, go over to their YouTube page, follow Club Fantasy FFL, and reap the benefits, guys. Ryan, we cannot thank you enough, my friend. Good luck this week. We hope you recover from your Allen Robinson play, my friend.
I better, or else I'm going to get lynched on Twitter as well, because I told everyone to go get him.
Well, guys, we will be back.
Have a great one.
We will be back here on Tuesday night. Nate and I, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time is our first podcast episode of the week. Jen will be back with us as well. I'm looking forward to seeing Nate's wonderful wife on with us. And on Sunday mornings, you can catch us at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. Connor and I are going to be on here. We're going to be talking bets. We're going to be talking DFS. And before that, I believe at 11 o'clock, Ryan, you guys have a DFS show as well over at Club Fantasy?
Absolutely. I host a show with Kira Wojciechowski, who is one of the cash game expert over at the new 33rd team with Josh Larkey and Jordan Vanek over there. But she is still going to be working with us on DFS and Chill. We're going on at 11, and we are actually trying to streamline our show, so it's going to work out perfectly so that we should be ending as you guys are starting, and we'll just have you guys covered from every angle on Sunday morning.
Yes.
Yeah. So, guys, start your Sunday mornings with Ryan and Kira over there at Club Fantasy FFL at 11. Come over here with Connor and I around 11:30ish or so. We got food, we got drinks. We're gonna have a really fun show. Nate, what do you got going on this weekend, man? Anything else that we should know about?
No, kids' birthday parties every weekend.
Okay.
Our kid's birthday party is tomorrow. So
how old's Jack now? What, 6? We looking at 6 now? 5?
5.
Okay.
He's 5.
Okay.
He's the youngest kid in his kindergarten class.
There we go.
My son was the exact same way. He was born on August 25th, but was the youngest as well.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Well, shout out to Jackson. We hope you have a great rest of your day at kindergarten, buddy. Happy birthday to you. To everyone who tuned in today. Thank you guys so much. It's been an absolute blast. Nate, thank you for riding shotgun with me, my friend. And we'll be back on Tuesday. Until then, guys, keep it in between and enjoy the weekend.
Your destination for both some feel-good lifestyle advice and some fantasy football